Hi, everybody. Welcome to Training the Swamp. Arthur and I were talking about it beforehand. Maybe put a question mark after that to show that now that the head swamp monster is back, he's going to be
Or,
filling up the swamp, not
or
draining it.
restocking the swamp.
Yeah, you'll
Yeah,
have to
restocking
chlorinate the
it.
swamp, then drain it.
Yeah.
Isn't that the truth? Oh my God, what a mess.
You're not boring me. I just
So,
had to yawn.
I'm not going to call out names because y'all are already overwhelming me. Way too many names. So thank you everybody for coming. Welcome. We will try to get to as many questions as we can in no particular order tonight. Just whatever jumps out at us. So anything you want to start out with, gentlemen, to get us going, or
Can I do an
just
infomercial?
you can?
I
Of
have one
course.
opening on my Italian and French Riviera cruise in May. I just had a cancellation. I've got one opening. Also, I've got openings on my Peru trip in September and on my Iceland trip in October. I want to apologize, everybody. I had a show with Linda on my channel, but my computer, my other laptop, had a glitch, and they wanted like 900 to fix it. And I'm like, I just bought a new one. So I've been at the Apple store all day, and I'm coming to you all tonight live from my new iPad because I bought one of those too, because it's easier to edit on an iPad. But my new laptop I'll use next time around, but I thought I'd try this out tonight.
Yeah, just a little bit of glitch going on. So, but it's not just Mel's new iPad. Everybody I know has been bitching about their computers for the last several days about things not working right,
We've been going
having to
through
be
solar flares.
rebooted. Yeah,
Seriously, they're solar flares.
yeah, exactly. It's been playing havoc with all of our stuff. You would think at this stage of the game we would know how to protect ourselves from that, but I
Not.
guess that would be logical.
Well, remember it was like 1890 when the solar flares hit and all the telegraph poles caught on fire.
Everything's
Oh yeah.
backwards. I'm seeing myself backwards. It's weird.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
We see the way we saw
we
you all.
see you normal. So yeah, you look normal to us. You look
I'm
beautiful.
glad you do, because I don't. Feel like I've had about 3 martinis here.
Oh my goodness. Well, that might just would come in handy. Maybe
might
then you'd
work,
see
right?
yourself frontwards.
And I just want to say thank you to everyone that has been writing. Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? Physically, yeah. Mentally, that's a whole nother story. But yeah.
Yeah.
The fires are still, it's crazy out here in Los Angeles. People are still, everyone is on edge. And then when you read somebody saying, well, is everybody going to move out of California? It's going to be red now, right? No, it's going to stay blue.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well,
It's just,
with Humpty Dumpty, he still is Humpty Dumpty, by the way.
Yeah.
He's going to have a great fall, but I don't see him staying in office. I feel he'll be inaugurated. Please, everybody, don't send me a bunch of nasty emails. I feel like he'll be inaugurated, but I don't see him staying in office. I see a huge health event coming for him, and I'm thinking that
yeah.
that might be the thing that gets him out of office. And with Vance taking over after that, I'm not so worried because the Democrats will take back over the House and the Senate at the midterms. So, but when he's the president-elect, and rather than going to, Southern California, LA, Pacific Palisades, those areas where people have lost their lives, their pets, their homes, everything, and offering a hand and saying what his administration is or his regime is going to do. What does he do? He criticizes the government, the state of California's response to that emergency. I'm like, wait a minute here. Anything he can, even in the face of this kind of catastrophic thing going on, he tries to capitalize on it politically by vilifying the state of California. And I think they've handled it quite well, to be honest with you, from what I've heard. I mean, how can you battle a fire in 90 mile an hour winds? It's unheard of. And rather than focus on climate change, what's he doing? Well, the state didn't, they didn't respond, or whatever he said. It just
And then he
blows
said,
me
well,
away.
windmills don't work because there's no wind. I'm like, really? They're 80 miles an hour.
Duh.
Oh yeah. I mean, you've got hurricane force winds out there, which are blowing embers the size of
Which can
basketballs
go 5 miles.
all over the place, and I mean, stop and think about it. It's like snow from hell, I heard
And
somebody say. And it's like, yeah, that pretty much describes it, I would imagine it.
And what I'm tired of is hearing on the news and everywhere else people saying, well, it was only the rich people that lost their houses. They have money. They can rebuild. It's like, no, a lot of people lost their homes and their lives. It's not just, people in the Malibu.
It doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank or lack thereof. It happens to, it's based on, whether you're in a mobile home, prefab home, a mansion on the hill. People lost their entire homes. They
Yeah.
lost lives. They've lost everything. Who cares? It's about
Yeah.
it's about being there to help people out. And instead of making things more polarized, this should be something that's pulling people together. And it is, most of us. In fact, Kim Copeland had an idea. Arthur, I think you're going to join us. Shari, you can too if you'd like. Wednesday night as a fundraiser, to do a fundraiser for the people of that area, and also to the animal shelters, I think, in the area.
Yeah.
So rather than
Awesome.
Trump vilifying, he should be telling people
What can I do to help?
together. What can we do to help?
Yeah.
So, this is, rather than talk about climate change and all that, this is just
Well,
a smattering of what's going to happen with climate.
I'd say it's the tip of the iceberg, but that's already melted.
Yeah.
And
I
what
saw a
Trump is
short
not
Marjorie
gonna
clip
do.
Taylor Greene
earlier.
saying we control the weather, so why can't they just make it rain over Los Angeles?
Oh, please, with the conspiracy theories, that's another thing.
Yeah.
That just does more harm than good.
Well, it's just like them going around and saying that, well, California had decriminalized looting.
No,
It's like, where the hell did you come up with this BS from? And because they're saying it over on Fox News ad nauseum, you've got looting going up because people are thinking, oh, hey, it's decriminalized. I can go help myself. It just.
But actually, people looted Kamala Harris's house that burnt down.
Yeah. I mean, the vice president of the United States had her home burned down. And probably memories that can never be replaced burned with it. I mean, you stop and think about it. Your house catches on fire. You're grabbing the first thing you can think of that's of the most importance to you. But you're not grabbing picture albums. You're not grabbing certain books that maybe belong to a family member that you've kept for nostalgic reasons. You're not, digging in the back of your closet for that wedding dress or that tux or whatever. You're grabbing your kids and your purse and your keys and you're running. I mean, and hoping like hell you get out.
I didn't know until now that our house had burnt. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know it either till Arthur told me. So
well,
and there's another theory. I'm sorry. There's another theory going around that it was caused by all of P. Diddy's people because they want to get rid of evidence.
Jeez. God. Where's a brick wall you could just bang your head against? Like,
that's as bad as laser beams from space.
Yeah, exactly. It's a
but like I always
laser
say,
beam.
If they had those laser beams in space, call me. I'll give you her address.
Yes.
I'm having a hard time staying in the frame here, you all. I don't know what I'm doing, but
because it looks like you're like walking.
It looks like you're rotating in your chair like this. Is what it looks like.
No, it's the computer. I'm seeing everything backwards, and it's kind of messing me up.
That's all right. We'll just put it down and say you had a few drinks before the show, and
it's soda water, everybody.
Oh my goodness.
It's so much water.
Well, as W.C. Fields said, I don't drink water, fish F in it.
There you go. Oh
There you
God
go.
Almighty. Yeah, Kamala and Doug lost their house. It burnt and then it got looted. So it is God is my witness or whatever is up there. They need to strike those people down because that's
And
any
honestly, I
or
don't think
any
they
place,
knew whose house it
anybody.
was. They were just looting.
I'm sure they did, and they were just looting. But it's like it's bad enough you everything's burns. Then you got scavengers that go in and take what little bit may survive. I mean, I know I read that it was Mel Gibson lost his house. Um,
Eric
shit, now I
Braden
can't
lived
think
in
of
his
his
house
name.
for
Eric
45
Braden
years.
from
45 years.
Young and the Restless. Yeah, that's true. I mean, a lot of these big stars that have been around a long time.
Don't forget,
They've had
Escape from
their
the Planet of the
houses
Apes
for
and the Colossus, the Forbin Project. His very first moves.
I think
I
it's
mean,
just sad that people, whoever they are, whatever their politics, lost everything.
Yeah.
I mean, and then for
exactly.
people to go and loot, I think is just an
It's the lowest of
abomination.
low,
Oh,
And
it's
then
not even
for
it's not even human. It's
and then for
subhuman.
Republicans to say, let's hold back the aid. Let's hold
Yeah.
back the aid.
Yeah, that's what I've been
And
hearing
put
from
these
them.
bills through.
Well,
Well, but
that's what they get for not putting water in the reservoirs and blah 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 blah. I saw a clip earlier today of Elon Musk bitching about this on some live stream he was doing. And a fire department guy got on and he says, well, for starters, let's correct the misinformation you just put out. There was water in the reservoirs, and the reason why the water pressure wasn't what it normally is, because we normally send 5 to 10 tankers out to put out one house to have that much water on it. You've got 80,000 structures burning, and you've got however many tankers they've got and water trucks that come in to help. And he's like, when it's going nonstop, he says that pressure's not there. And there's nothing anybody can do about it. He said, and if the fact that the governor hadn't have doubled the size of the fire department and the equipment they have and all this other stuff, it would have been a whole hell of a lot worse.
And we had a lot of firefighters come in from Canada and Mexico.
Mexico, yep.
Thank you.
shh,
And,
don't let
and
Trump
across
hear you.
Exactly.
Don't let Trump hear you. He might deport them. Shh.
oh, okay. But and also I was reading where the Kardashians were talking and complaining about the water. Somebody came out with a little doc about how much water they waste to keep their lawns pristine, their pools, everything, how much water they waste.
One
So,
thing
Yeah.
I learned when I was in Africa, water is life and
Mhm.
water is scarce. And so you don't waste water. In fact, they catch theirs in big cisterns and then they don't filter it like we do. But if I, now before I went to Africa, when I would take I brush my teeth, leave the water run, wash dishes, leave the water run. I don't do that anymore because I learned that water is precious, and there you conserve every drop. And it was a good lesson for me when I got home. So, the people who, like Elon Musk, are complaining about, oh, well, whatever, he has no clue what he's talking about. That's number one. Number two, what does he have to wish for? What has he lost in this? He has no dog in this fight, so how dare him get up and blab? He should be over there in the trenches helping people. That's what he should be doing.
Well, I'm sure if one of his Tesla plants was going to be on fire, he'd be there fast.
I'm sure he'd be crying, he'd
Yeah.
be screaming.
And looking
Instead,
for
he
a
was
government
just
payout.
online. Instead, he was just online doing a live stream, just spreading
Hi, everybody.
misinformation and making shit up. So,
All right, shall we get to our questions?
Yes, we can. Let's
Sure.
see. Here's one. Is Merrick Garland compromised, and has he been intentionally protecting Trump? No.
No, no. Merrick
He
Garland,
just
go ahead.
go ahead.
Merrick
Mel.
Garland, he moved slowly, way too slowly. But before he charged Trump with anything, they wanted to make sure that they had enough to stick. He didn't, he just didn't want to throw stuff at the wall and see what slid down and what didn't. I mean, they did a really good job, in my opinion, investigating. Should have moved quicker? Probably. But in no way, shape, or form. My guides tell me he has absolutely nothing to do with Trump. In fact, my guides tell me that Merrick Garland despises Donald Trump. So go ahead,
Yeah.
Shari. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I mean, I read on a similar question, I guess a week or two ago, and I got something very similar to what you just said. It's just the way he operates is not normal, and he doesn't operate at the same level of speed and the same processes as everybody else, and that's just him, which is what made him a good judge. And what would have made him a good Supreme Court judge, because he thoroughly
He's
looks
methodical.
through everything,
Yeah.
very methodical. He
started out as a prosecutor.
Right, so, and those that have worked with him in the past have all said that, when it came, going to court and dealing with all that stuff, that this was a man that didn't miss anything, and it was because he took his time with it. Now, granted, we should have been arresting people the day after, on January 7th, 2021, including
But-
those at the top. We should have been there slapping
Yeah, but it
handcuffs on all of them. But
the administration hadn't turned over until the 20th.
right. So,
He's still
that
barring all his little clowns running the thing.
Yep.
But I do feel
Well,
that
here's a-
volume 1 of the Jack Smith report, Merrick Garland will release.
Yeah.
It will. I see it coming out.
And then the other stuff about Florida, it's going to be released. Maybe not the way they like it. It's going to get out one way or another. Okay.
I see it coming out too. I don't know.
Yeah.
It could be because of leaked. Arthur is Arthur frozen, or is that just me? Is that
Yeah, he's frozen on his picture, but we can hear him talking. So
okay?
I'm moving around and being animated on mine, so I don't know.
you're
And I'm not
frozen
using-
stiff on us. So you're not
I'm
moving,
using-
but we just fine. So
Okay.
and
I'm voguing.
well, I
Strike
lost
the
my train
pose.
of thought on that. Anyways, strike a pose. Yeah, there you go. All right, let's see. Laura had one. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said he will not honor Carter's flag at half-staff for Trump's inauguration. Now these are people who, let me vent for a moment, because this makes me angry at a level I can't even believe. These are the people that run around talking about how we need to honor our veterans and honor our people and show respect. And then that's their reaction to a former president who, it's always been tradition that for 30 days after a former president dies, the flags on all state and federal buildings are at half-mast or half-staff.
Staff.
And yeah, half-staff. Half-mast is on a ship, half-staff is on land. To show respect for that person. Donald Trump having a hissy fit because the flags were going to be lowered half-staff when he's getting inaugurated just shows the level of his
ego,
his
narcissism.
ego, and his immaturity in the fact that he cannot stand the thought of someone else being honored on a day that's supposedly all about him, And
well, this morning they raised the flags at full staff over Mar-a-Lago.
Of course they did, because they don't respect anybody. And it's like, How can you expect people to respect you if you don't respect anyone?
This
That
pendulum is
goes
going to
both
come
ways.
by. It's going to come back and bite Donald Trump in the butt. I mean, you might not agree with Jimmy Carter's politics. I happen to do so. But I want to tell you, he was a phenomenal president. He was an excellent leader. He was a very spiritual and righteous man. And, if I were being inaugurated, which I'm not, I wouldn't have made a big deal of it. I would have just said, let's keep the flag at half staff and, let me get inaugurated and move on. You're right, Sherry. Trump wants to make it all about him, and it just shows a total lack of respect. Now, had
Yeah,
that been somebody that one of Trump's cronies or Governor Abbott's cronies, oh my God, that flag would have, or a Demo, or or a MAGA who passed on, that flag would have been glued at half staff for a complete year. You know,
exactly.
Well, look what he did with John McCain.
right,
When
right.
John McCain passed, so disrespectful.
Yeah, they truly have no respect for, even if it's somebody on their team. They have no respect for them. You think people are going
How
to
do you
be
see
respectful when
hypocrisy?
Trump goes? No. They're probably going to piss on his coffin and say, "Oh well, good riddance." They're not going to
No, they're not
care.
going to have it
And
at the Rotunda. They're going to have it at the Mall of America.
there you go. That too.
That way they can
Um,
hawk all of his wares.
He'll be his coffin will be between two gold toilets,
all
resting in two
right.
gold
I'm
toilets.
playing in the movie theater.
Yeah, showing at the movie theater. There you go. We'll all have to
Yellow
buy a
River,
ticket. Go,
old yellow.
tickets. He'll sell
Never
tickets for
mind.
sure. I'm sorry. What did you say, Arthur? You were breaking up and I talked over you
No, I said,
accidentally.
what's the movie that's going to run? Old Yeller or
Yeah.
Old Yellow?
That'd be a good one. Okay. Martha asked, any inkling my NATO was in DC?
Well, my guides are telling me just to probably to fill out Donald Trump and see what it was up to. And when he says, I'm NATO doesn't pay us what they owe us, not going to defend them, and I'm not going to do this and whatever. And I'm like, Donald, you got a lot of room to talk. You owe E. Jean Carroll all that money, and you're trying to scarf out on paying her. And like with all your hotels that you bankrupted, put people out of business, walked out without paying people, owing people money that you never paid. Who are you to talk about? Countries that are helping us protect our democracy owing us money. You know,
Yeah.
I just full of misinformation. Yeah, when I was president, they started putting billions in, and look what happened. What happened, Donald? The whole world was destabilized. That's what happened.
And
And
you raised
also,
our
he's now
debt to
trying to
$6 trillion. Yeah.
I'm sorry, say again.
I was just going to say,
Arthur,
he's
say that
now
again.
pitching to rebuy the hotel in DC.
Right.
He's trying to buy it again.
Yep.
It's going to be a wild show. It's going to be a freak show.
Yeah, for sure. Jenny Wells, will we survive in decent shape through this administration?
Yes.
We
Yes,
have
we
no
will.
choice.
It's not going to be easy and it's not going to be fun. And oh my Lord, I'm wishing and praying and hoping every day that a miracle happens between now and Monday and it's Kamala Harris being inaugurated, not him. But that's not going to happen. Logically, I know this. Spiritually, I'm screaming out at the heavens, please, God, please protect us from this. But there's stuff that we still have to learn from it, and uh,
No matter
it's just
how
yeah,
no matter how fearful we get, no matter the crazy goofy atrocities he's going to commit, we must speak up. All right? Because if we sit in silence while he's deporting people or trying to, and this stuff like with the flag and everything else he's starting to pull. Notice whenever that the MAGAs get in, that the chaos starts, and when they're not in, things seem to run smoothly. It's going to be chaotic. We're going to be really polarized. He wants it that way. But the bottom line is, don't let the fear stand in front of you and hold you back. Let it get behind you and push you forward. And do
Exactly.
not, absolutely do not lose your voice. Donald Trump, whenever he gets in trouble, he makes his voice louder. Well, we're going to have to make our voices louder than his. And we can do that if we just
Yeah.
don't bow down to the bully. We have to stand
Yeah.
strong. And my
Exactly.
guides assure me that we will. At least 50 or 60% of us will.
Yeah.
It's
I
all about
agree.
staying vigilant.
Correct. I
Yeah.
agree.
Let your voice be heard. And that's why we're doing these shows like this on YouTube, because you're not going to hear this stuff anywhere else.
But in
No, you're not.
in a certain state I won't mention, they're already starting to mess with gay rights and gay marriage and asking to bring that to the Supreme Court.
Yeah,
And I knew it was going to happen. I knew
we
it
all
would.
did.
And here we are. And
Yeah.
so, uh,
Well, now the Supreme Court is going to hear a case where they're saying Obamacare promotes homosexual activity. It's like, well, I guess what Viagra, what does that promote? Lots of unwanted babies?
how does Obamacare promote
Because it
gay
covers PrEP.
activity? It covers what?
PrEP.
Well, it covers
Some of
PrEP.
the HIV drugs.
Well, you know, um,
A
I don't
lot of
know.
people get HIV and died from HIV that had nothing to do with homosexuality or lesbianism or anything. It
Yeah,
came
but
from a blood disease. And because they got blood or got stuck with a dirty needle, they got a disease. And it had nothing to do with their sexual preferences at
Well,
all.
they'll probably try to outlaw PrEP, but it'll go the same way as the day after pill. So I don't think but see what they're doing is they're already starting chiseling away at our
mhm.
rights,
Yeah.
just like they did with Roe v. Wade.
Well,
But they're not going to win.
this last election in California, there was a Prop 3, which was you can marry the person of you love, because it was still on the books that marriage was between a man and a woman. So this last election, it was finally put out of the books. But a lot of states, like in Arizona, from 18 whatever, they tried to bring that law up when they got rid of
Yeah.
Roe v. Wade. When women can even vote when that law was made.
Well,
Did
I mean, what gets me is when I hear these women talking about, well, we need to go back to the way it used to be. And I said, back when you had no rights, you couldn't have a checking account unless your husband or your daddy signed off on it. And they could go to the bank and clean it out anytime they got a whim to do so. And you had no say so over the fact, or the fact
You
that you
really
couldn't
want
get
to
a
wear a
credit
metal?
card
You really
or
want
you couldn't
a
buy
bra
a
with?
house.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Do they really want to wear a bra with metal stays in it?
Thank
That's
you.
going back.
how about it just blows me away. I mean, it just blows me away. You know, um, they're gonna pick on all of us really who are minorities, women, LGBTQ. It's coming, but I think Biden codified some aspects of gay marriage. I think, and if it's codified, they can't touch it. But it didn't really do enough. But at least
The
it
Equal Rights
protects
Amendment
us
he was trying to
some.
get through.
I'm sorry,
The Equal Rights Amendment he kept on trying to get through.
but I think he codified some gay rights.
Mm-hmm.
I think marriage, but I don't know what else. But they're trying to mess
But
with
now
our.
all the large corporations are getting rid of it's all anti. Pushing back everything about DEI education.
I couldn't.
And
You were
Yes,
breaking.
God forbid your children have have accurate medical information to make reasonable decisions about themselves. I mean,
one thing we can't overlook, my guides are telling me, is that the drug companies are going to have a big influence on a lot of this. And so
this
if
is true.
they try to stop with PrEP or the morning after pill or birth control pills, drug companies are really going to speak up harsh, and they have a lot of power. And trust me, big business has a lot more power on some level than even Donald Trump. And you don't, just like he messed with Mickey Mouse, just like DeSantis in Florida, you don't mess with these big corporations because ultimately it will bite you in the butt. So, just like Elon Musk, he owns these some huge corporations, but he's playing with fire. And so are these people who are trying to limit rights and medications. As far as as far as PrEP promoting homosexual activity, that's it. I laugh. I don't know what the Supreme Court will do with it. I'm surprised they're even hearing it, to be honest with you.
Exactly.
But there are some people on the court, like Clarence Thomas and a few others, who obviously don't like gay people, and that's
Then
okay.
we should get rid of interracial marriage.
Well, that's another thing that Clarence
Mr.
Thomas doesn't
Thomas,
want to
you have
look
to get
at.
rid of interracial marriage.
Clarence
What
Thomas
they
won't look at that.
Well,
a good thing that they will use in trying to promote their way of thinking is, well, that's a slippery slope. You're just going to slide right down, and next thing you know, marrying your donkey next door or something. Stupid crap like that. It's like, okay, yeah, it's a slippery slope. You take away this right from one group of people today, what's going to be taken away tomorrow, and then the day after that, and then the day after that?
I
It's a
feel,
slippery slope, and with each thing that they take away, it's going to make it easier to take the next thing away.
but
So
yet they don't do anything about a man who has 36 or 36, is it, or 34?
34.
34
34.
felony convictions. Judge Merchan did not want to dismiss uh, the Trump thing. What he said was he applauded the jury, and he applauded everything else. He said it wasn't Trump. Trump wasn't the reason. It's because it was the office of the president, and Trump was
Mhm.
going to be in that office.
Right.
Um,
But
The oth-
that
the other
that is waiting for him for when he leaves office.
correct.
His sentencing will be done and will go into effect.
Right. So the bottom line is,
So
and my guides had shown me that, but they try to make certain things a crime, but yet they're the biggest criminals of all. It just blows me away.
yeah,
They talk about in the beginning, well, gay marriage is going to bring down America. What does me being able to marry the person I love have to do with bringing down America? It's thugs like Donald Trump and the people that he has around him, and those thugs that would bring down America. That's what they need to look at, and they're going to know that they drink the Kool-Aid. They're going to know and realize it at some point. People are already having voters remorse. Can I change my vote? No, you cannot. So uh,
yeah.
it's
I mean, all the stuff that was Googled the day after the election from people suddenly waking up. It's like, what, y'all couldn't have done that the day before you went and voted
it's
and made
all
sure?
about us keeping our voices. Anyway,
I
um,
just want to
Exactly.
point one
Okay.
thing out, if I can. If I can say something,
Yes.
please.
Yes. Yes.
They talk
Go.
about
Go.
high school trans athletes. There are over 500,000 high school athletes. The amount of trans high school athletes are less than 10 out of 500,000. Yet they're making this
Yeah.
big brouhaha about it. It's just smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're
Exactly.
vilified trans now. So it's like they want to erase them from the face of the earth. But I'm sure they watched RuPaul's Drag Race.
Oh, I'm sure they probably, They're going to call the gay fashion designer to come over and design their house or pick their clothes or whatever, because they're better at it than I am. So yeah, but they're not good enough to marry the person they love or adopt kids so
Well,
that they can have a family.
if you ever see the way Marjorie Taylor Greene dresses, I don't think she knows gay people.
No, she doesn't. Either that or they have a really good laugh on her
That
whenever
hater and
they
say, "Oh,
do.
it looks great. Go out there."
Well, there are some gay people who really need to be arrested by the fashion police as well. So
Oh, I know. I'm just
myself
teasing.
being one because of my Aloha shirts. Excuse me.
No,
Somebody,
I use that because it's
I know
a
what
stereotype that is always thrown out there. Well, they're only good for fashion design
are
or
doing hair.
picking, yeah, or doing hair. Yeah, and it's like most of the gay people I've known in my life didn't do either thing and had no interest in doing either thing. So
Somebody put in the comments that says crawfish, crawfish. What does that mean? It just keeps repeating
oh,
itself.
they just members on my channel, one of the positions is a crawfish.
Oh, I see.
And it's one of the emojis that I created for them to use.
I got
And
you.
so when they click the picture on the YouTube, you see the picture. But in StreamYard, you get what it is written out because
I
it
got
won't
you.
read it. I don't know.
Gotcha.
It's weird like that.
Well, it was
Because
funny.
the first time
Normally,
I saw that, I thought, "What the hell is that?"
normally I have to go into StreamYard to come on here, but I do on my laptop, but on an iPad, it just brings you right into it. It's weird. But I
Yeah,
think, but that's probably why, Arthur, I couldn't see the controls at the bottom because it's not doing it through it's it's doing it
and
through StreamYard, but like I can put people in timeout from here and all that, which I
Yeah,
can't
right,
do.
the browser that StreamYard uses is basically Chrome, and most Mac products are Safari. So there's
Right.
always a glitch there
yeah,
too.
yeah.
But they do
So
have a compatible one for an iPad, but not for a laptop
well, it's like
or for a Mac laptop.
when I got my tablet, I bought a refurbished Amazon Fire because it was under $100. I thought, oh, cool, I can finally have a tablet that I can afford. And when I went to go on the first time to go do a few things on it because it was Amazon, it did not have any Chrome stuff on it. My son had to go in and like download special software so I could have the Chrome stuff put on my tablet. It took like 2 or 3 days for us to figure out what the hell was going on. He had to call a friend of his who's a real IT genius and say, "Okay, I'm stuck. What do we do?" Um, but even he has an iPhone. I have an Android phone. It's If I use his phone for something, I am so lost. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. None of the buttons make sense. It's I
I can
guess
do
it just
both, but
depends on what you're used
I
to.
can
But
do both, but I started out on a Mac, and so that's what I'm used to. But I want to say hi to the people at the Apple Store. Boy, the young man that helped me, Tony. Hey, Tony. Um, he was incredible. I mean, they synced all the information. I was there 3 or 4 hours and showed me how to do stuff, show me what happened and why I couldn't do the show with Linda today. Nobody was getting my emails and why I wasn't getting any. That's why I called you, Shari, and said, "Did you send me the link?" Because I was nervous. My emails weren't coming through. But it
yeah,
was a long, drawn out thing. So we had to take all the emails off and then put them back on again.
yeah,
Reinstall them.
there you
We had
go.
to uninstall them and reinstall
And
them.
reinstall them. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
eh,
Well, here's another question that came through earlier. How will our country's national security be impacted by Trump's administration? How compromised will we be?
huge. My guys
Greatly
say
and
huge.
greatly. Yeah.
Uh,
It's kind
I'm
of frightening to think about.
I'm sure he's already giving compromised information. Um, I'm sure that Putin knows where all of our nuclear stash is hidden and all of that. So
And this, But I still don't see Tulsi Gabbard getting in.
I'm sorry.
I still do not see Tulsi Gabbard getting in. Too compromised.
Yeah, I have a even with Republicans in the Senate, there's been several comments made about people that are compromised or something that they're going to have to draw a line on that. It's like, okay, y'all should have thought about that before you picked your president. But um,
Tulsi Gabbard is just, don't even get me started.
Yeah.
She was, a Republican all along. I think she's from
Well,
Hawaii.
remember,
She's a disgrace to Hawaii, that's for sure. But anyway.
well, remember that dinner where they had Mike Flynn sitting next to Vladimir Putin? She was the same table.
There you go. I think we're going to be, our national security is going to be hugely impacted. Why do you think Biden, when he took office, revoked Trump's security clearance? Because Biden knew. And they're giving Elon Musk way too much information. Even if the FBI, CIA says don't give someone a security clearance, if they're in his inner circle, he's gonna blab it like white on rice. I'm sure that Elon
Yeah.
Musk already knows a bunch of our secrets. I'm
Oh,
sure of it.
I'm sure.
And at some point he'll use those or try to use those for his own financial gain. But at some point, I'm telling you, Elon Musk is going to end up in jail.
Oh, there's already several other countries that are seriously investigating him. And the one good thing I know with Jack Smith is that when he turned in his report along with his letter of resignation, where he very clearly said, I have done the work you hired me to do. Here is the report you asked me to give. All the information is there. Now I'm leaving and I'm going back to The Hague.
That's
And
what
so
Mueller did.
he's going back to The Hague with all that knowledge. You can't tell me that they're not going to be looking into things now across the board globally.
That's pretty much
Well,
what Mueller did. Mueller said, here it is. The Senate and the House needs to do their jobs. And I still think at some point the Mueller report's going to come front and center. Jack Smith's reports are going to come front and center.
Well, part one is being released tonight
There you go.
on
Elon
Jack
Musk
Smith's.
is going
Yeah.
to also meet his Waterloo.
Yeah.
But what Trump will do is Trump will say, well, he's a diplomat. And so he'll give him a diplomatic passport so that these countries who are going to be going after Elon Musk, if he's got diplomatic immunity, is kind of a middle finger to those countries. But then what Trump will do is threaten to cut any kind of trade or any kind of any sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Any sort of banter, any sort of relationships with those countries who are going to be going after Elon Musk. It
Well,
might look
France is
like
already talking about sanctions against him.
well, how much? I bet you Trump will go against them. Trump behind the scenes is going to work with Russia in order to get some ultra right wing person into France. And the French already know that. All these countries do, like in Romania and all of that. But
Yeah.
any country that goes after Musk, Trump is going to distance himself from and maybe even break diplomatic relations with them. That's what I see coming. My guides are showing me that strongly.
And
Until there's
yeah,
a falling
everybody,
out with
we
Elon
know
Musk.
Arthur's frozen. It's just his.
No, I'm not frozen. I'm here. I'm here. I'm just
You're
sitting
there.
here
We can
listening.
hear him and everything, but his picture's frozen on the screen.
Arthur, you
So
look like this.
No, I'm not able to
every now
talk.
and again he moves.
Talking, so I'm just being
Very.
quiet.
Maybe every minute we get.
I'll log in and
movement,
out, see if that works.
Let's see. Where was the next? Oh, here we go. This was one that came up. Some
Now
of the
he's
House
off.
GOP are putting together a bill to give Trump permission to enter into discussion to purchase the Panama Canal.
My feeling is Panama is not going to allow that to happen. And when he says he's going to take over Greenland, I'm like, I don't think so. Isn't it Norway that owns
Denmark.
Green
Is it
Denmark owns Greenland.
Denmark? Um, Denmark.
And the king of Denmark has already told him he's full of BS and don't push his luck. So
There you go.
it's
And the
like at
prime
least
minister
there's
of
one king that's
And if we invade Greenland, then that's an act of war against Greenland and against Denmark, actually.
yeah.
and the
So
prime minister of Greenland said, "We're not for sale."
there you go.
Yeah.
Or he'll trade Puerto Rico, but what he wanted most of all was to get his hands on the Panama Canal. So he says things that are so outlandish. And if he says, well, we want Greenland and we'll trade Puerto Rico and we're going to do this, it almost gives a wink and a nod to Putin to continue on in Ukraine, doesn't it?
Well,
Yeah.
Rose Blue just mentioned I was going to in Panama. That's where the Trump towers that they had, the Trump hotels. That's where they were doing all the money laundering. There's a documentary about it,
Yeah. I've seen
and he
it.
has lots of taxes in Panama.
Well, when you just said that, my psychic light bulb flashed. I call it my
Mhm.
psychic flash cube. Remember the flash cubes?
Oh my God! Yeah,
Oh, I do.
Okay.
Yes.
Um,
You couldn't see for 10 minutes afterward.
you were
There's like
blind. um, a lot more is gonna come out about how there was money laundered in Panama, and a lot of stuff's gonna come out on Trump because I want to tell you, the president down there they're gonna leak information like a sieve. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that he's going to have a hard time buying the Panama Canal. I think the Panamanians are going to be like, absolutely not.
yeah, they're
And he
not
said it's
interested
being
in
run
that
by,
at all.
But when
and
he
he
was
said it's
talking
being,
about all these other outlandish things, we know what he wanted, the Panama Canal. It was easy. It's low hanging fruit.
the Chinese are not operating the Panama Canal. That's disinformation from Mr. Trump.
Of course
Yeah.
it is. And then what's going to happen when prices go up and inflation starts. Well, if I had the Panama Canal, this wouldn't have happened.
And now, with the tariff threat, China is going to Brazil to buy all their soybean.
Right.
So the American soybean farmers are going to be out of luck.
Yeah.
And now
they're screwed.
Canada is making deals with China about exporting stuff from there if the America's not going to play.
Yeah.
So he's just screwing us all over.
Okay.
That's right. And as it
And
gets
then on
tougher,
groceries, I'll make your grocery. I'm going to cut the grocery bills. And then he says, "No, I don't really can't."
Shari, can you put this one up? I like this one. Michelle Carty, has a pardon been offered to Trump in exchange for him agreeing to walk away and not incite violence with his MAGA cult? I don't see that at all.
No.
no.
I don't.
No.
I don't. Oh my goodness. Siri just kicked in. I was going to send a message on what I just said. Say they're not listening in. Not conspiracy theory or nothing, right? That's funny. I'm sorry I'm moving around. I kept getting out of the frame.
That's okay. Sandy Johnson put in, it's all a
I took it down
distraction from the cash grab and pillaging of the U.S. coffers.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hallelujah. Absolutely.
I mean, they're already passing around a menu in Congress amongst the Republican House members on how much to cut Medicaid and how much to cut Medicare and how much to cut this, that, and the other. So the billionaires and the trillionaires can get another tax cut because, 10 yachts aren't enough. They need a few more. It's
Cut the SNAP programs. We need a yacht.
right.
Pegasus is a good one. I like this. Sherry, Mel, and Arthur, how will we all feel a week from tonight? Angry, nauseated, but I will
Drunk.
speak up. I will speak up louder and harder and and whatever we need to do to keep this autocrat from ruining this country. My guides assure me it's going to get really bad, but they've also assured me Abraham Lincoln, I felt his spirit come through. Our democracy uh, will last, our union will stand, and justice shall prevail. Those are the things that came through from him, and I believe it.
Mhm. I do too.
Yeah, it's just going to be really hard, y'all. It's not going to be easy.
It's
That's
not
the
going to
one
be
thing I
easy.
keep
But we
telling
can't run
everybody.
around saying, "Oh my God, the sky is falling. It's going to be horrible." Just prepare for it. Don't live in fear.
Exactly.
Well,
Um,
just like the folks in
Prepare for the worst and hope for the best. That's
just like in Louisiana when that crazy governor took office down there. But there are a lot of people in Louisiana that don't like him, and you all are doing what you need to do to make sure it doesn't happen again. And folks there are going about their day-to-day life.
yeah, and bitching and moaning and complaining about it. And it's like, yeah, well, you voted for him. I don't want to hear it. That's what I've said to several people who I've heard bitch and complain and gripe about what Landry's doing this and that and the other. And I'm like, who'd you vote for? Well, when I voted for him, I thought, yeah, I said, stop. I said, you voted for him? You're getting exactly what you voted for because he told you
What he was
before
going
you
to do.
voted
That's
for him
right.
what he was going to do. And he's doing exactly that. So I don't
That's
want to hear this nonsense about, well, I didn't know he was going to do blah, blah, blah. Well, you
He
weren't
said
paying
he was going to
attention
do it.
then.
Laura
This
writes,
one breaks my heart. Yeah.
my grandson is 10. Go ahead, Sherry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Oh no, my grandson is 10, he's biracial, and he's worried the police are going to come take him away.
Isn't that sad that we have come to that in this country where 10-year-olds have to worry about being carried away by police because of the color of their skin or who their parents are? That is just, uh, you know what, Grace? Tell your grandson that there are those of us in this country that will go to our death to keep that from happening.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you tell your grandson for
Absolutely.
us that we think he's a wonderful young man. And I got a funny feeling one of these days he'll be a judge or possibly even president. So that's what I want you to tell him.
That's it. Yeah, no one's going to come lock him up or take him away.
That's just
That
heartbreaking.
that just makes
Heartbreaking.
me angry on a level I can't even express my thoughts on it, as
And we
as
have
a
to
mom, much less just as a human being. I
and we
mean,
have to let that anger like not eat away at us, but
Use it.
but to take action so that things like this don't happen. A 10-year-old shouldn't even have to be
exactly.
afraid of that. They shouldn't have to be afraid to go to school and get shot. We shouldn't have to be afraid to go to a movie theater and get murdered. Or we, or or is our house going to burn down because of climate change? Or, can we marry who we want to marry? Any of that stuff, it just boggles my mind.
Hmm.
Anyway,
Yeah, I mean, it's just that the just bear in mind, people, that the level of damage that this next administration is going to do to us across the board as a country, whoever we vote into office behind him, and hopefully it's Kamala Harris, um, they're not going to be able to wave a magic wand and fix it overnight. It's going to take decades to repair the damage that's going to be done.
I remember when I saw Biden speak when he took office as president, and I cried. It wasn't because of what he's saying was so profound, it's because he sounded so presidential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I saw part of what he said today. I had to run to the Apple store. I came out a lot poorer, trust me. But I cried again because I thought, well, it's like when he took office and now he's leaving office being presidential. And Trump certainly doesn't get that part of it. But I see that there's going to be some media outlets that are going to be calling him on his stuff and doing some really good investigations. Can I read this one, Sherry? Do you mind?
Sure.
Laura Rice said, "Did Biden wimp out with regards to coming out with election interference?" No.
No.
He's not going to come out and say something that's based on speculation until he has the proof thereof. But mark my words, Biden, Barack Obama, many people, um, Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, they're going to be working behind the scenes in the Democratic Party. Uh, Even some Republicans will be, many of them will be working behind the scenes to keep Trump, to try
Yeah.
to keep Trump somewhat at bay.
What my guys keep on telling me are there are guardrails in place that Trump's not aware of until he tries to go do something. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you can't do that.
Right.
And I think I do not see them they may talk about it. I do not see them touching Medicare. I do not see them touching Social Security. They're just saying it is fear factors, but I do not see them actually being able to go after it. For whatever it's worth, that's what I get. That's my guides tell me. So
Well, I like what Lisa Foster said. Let's talk about positive things. No
exactly.
more doom
No
and
more doom
gloom.
and gloom.
We're going to be fine. Exactly, Lisa. Exactly. And there's enough day-to-day crap that brings us down that we have to deal with. It's just normal everyday crap. And it's one thing to express yourself and to get it out there so that people have the information. It's another thing to keep. It's like there's some on the left here that I've heard. It's like they just keep beating that drum of just, it's all going to just come to an end the day after he gets sworn in. It's like, stop.
Well, and
Stop doing that.
and all due respect to Lisa, I love Lisa. Fine means effed up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. So when you say
Well, that
things are
explains the U.S. So,
so when you say things are going to be fine, I think though, Lisa, what we're doing is answering some of the questions. We're not trying to be doom and gloom. It's just about, we have to speak up and let our voices be heard. But yet we can still pass on loving acts. And I got a t-shirt today that said love over fear. And thank you for
yeah.
putting us on track, Lisa. Love over fear. And I'm going to wear it too.
Marina from Heart Center Tarot and Shari from Trancing Spirit, they started doing it on a monthly thing, the Shine Your Light, where they're going in. They've got another one coming up in, I think it's on the 25th, the 26th. I don't know. It's coming up in a couple of weekends. But yeah, Colleen, the Cool Crone, once a month, we do a Reveal the Future, where it's just a 30-minute meditation where we go in and we visualize what we want to see, what the positives are with things. And those are all very important things. I mean, yeah, we need to vent, we need to get it off our chest, we need to get the information out there so people know what it is they're up against. But at the same time, we have to remember that if we want it to be better, we also have to speak that into existence as well.
I agree.
And focus
I
on that.
agree. I agree with that.
You know.
But
And
thanks, Lisa. Thanks for putting us on track, Lisa.
I was going to say, if worse comes to worse, go to my playlist and listen to my guided meditation, letting go of stress and anxiety.
There you go. Arthur's got wonderful, wonderful guided meditations on his channel.
He does.
I can attest to that because for the first time in my life, when I listened to one of his, I was doing one of his meditations one weekend morning. I was sitting out on the patio with my coffee, and it brought me so deep. I've never dropped down that deep in a meditation before. And my son came out talking to me, and there's no response. I didn't even twitch. And so he saw the earbuds and he thought, okay, she's listening to something. So he literally came over in front of me, like moving his hands, trying to get my attention. Nothing. It was like he said, you were just like a statue. He literally grabbed me and shook me. He thought I was having a stroke or something. He didn't know what the hell was going on. I was like, I was meditating. Leave me alone.
Leave me alone. I'm having an moment.
Moment.
Yeah. I'm meditating. I'm not medicating. Come on.
On that happy
That's
note,
it.
I've got to run.
Yeah.
Yes, we are right at an hour, so
And
that was a
tomorrow
good
night is
thing
Aloha
to.
Tuesday.
And thank you all for
That's
letting
right.
me try out my new iPad.
Yeah.
I got to get this. I don't know.
You
Everything's
got to fix
back.
it by tomorrow.
Yeah, there you go. I'll figure it out. I'll be
Oh
calling
yeah.
Apple
Oh
support
yeah.
I'm going to be Apple support's new best friend. So today they said, well, your computer's, the warranty is right out. I go, yeah, that was 2 years ago.
Real quick, I have a keyboard that I bought many years ago. It started glitching up. I called them and they asked, what's the model number? I gave it to him, goes, that's still working?
Oh, try this one today. They're like, it'll be $900 to replace the control strip that was on it. And then when I said, did the new ones have that? No, they did away with that. I go, why? Well, because they were
Because you're
causing the
getting
kind
it
of
It doesn't
problems like
work.
you're having. And the young guy says, well, I've got 6 years out of mine. I go, damn, I only got 4 years out of mine. But I said, I do YouTube. I do clients virtually. I'm always on it. I was just trying to feel better.
Yeah, it's yeah.
So
I
I ended
mean,
up with the new computer, but I'm
thank
gonna.
God
You
my
deserve
son
it
built
now.
me
Come
a
on.
computer
It's a
when I
tax write-off.
started
Don't
this.
forget.
I'm
Tax
sorry.
write-off.
Say again.
It's a tax write-off. And you deserve it.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, I like this iPad. When I edit, I can start playing with stuff. I'm putting stuff on YouTube. So yay! Anyway,
Yay.
Have
all
a
right.
That's my next goal is to learn how to edit. That's the next
Oh,
thing I
Arthur,
want to learn
tomorrow
how to
night you
do.
and I are together,
yes.
right?
Mhm.
And
My channel.
And I'll be
your
backstage
channel.
to do Arthur's magic. So
There you go. All right, I've got to run. And
bye, everybody. Thank y'all for
Keep
coming
the faith.
and spending your time. Hang in there.
thanks for